Kosovo now, probably the only country in the world with more flags of other countries than its own. Here you see Albanian flags. In the other part of town you might see some Serbian ones. Yes, this is the Serbian part. I hope they don't take too much offense at my Albanian number plate. There's another thing you probably know this country more of. That's the news. That's the war. So let's talk about that a bit. In the times of Yugoslavia, Kosovo was a province of the Republic of Serbia, which was part of the Federation of Yugoslavia. It had a little more independence than the other provinces. It was majority Albanian, minority Serbian. The Serbian people who lived in places like this side, Mitrovica, didn't feel represented and felt left behind compared to the Albanians who live on the other side of the river here. Slobodan Milosevic was rising to power in this period, in the late 80s and the early 90s, and he took up the cause of the Serbians living here, saying there is no place for favoritism in Yugoslavia, the country of brotherhood and unity. And he cracked down on any Albanian national sentiments. This didn't have the desired effect, and the Albanians grew more and more discontent, and eventually the Kosovo Liberation Army was formed. In the beginning of the 90s, the Kosovo Liberation Army remained an obscure and underground organization. They weren't ready yet to face the Yugoslavian army like the Croatians and the Slovenes had, who had gained their independence already. But in the late 90s, some things would happen and would tip the balance. In 1997, in the newly capitalist nation of Albania, a giant pyramid scheme collapsed, causing great anarchy in the country. Military bases, like the one we saw last week on this channel, were looted. The tanks in there were used as taxis, but the guns, they were smuggled into Kosovo, and they reached the Kosovo Liberation Army, making them much more a formidable force. As the 90s rolled along, Yugoslavia as a nation became less and less feasible, and Milosevic became more concerned with establishing a nation for the Serbian people. And Kosovo, to the Serbians, was an inseparable part of this. Not only because Milosevic wanted to protect the Serbian minority living here, but also because the history of Serbia played for a large part here in Kosovo. I'm right now at the Gazemistan monument, and this is a monument to the Battle of Kosovo, a large battle between the Serbians and the Ottomans, played here on these fields that you can see from this tower. So when the Kosovo Liberation Army became more and more active, so did the Yugoslav army to counter this. In 1999, a coalition of NATO members led by the USA under Bill Clinton intervened in the war on the side of the Kosovo Liberation Army. They bombed not only targets in Kosovo assisting the KLA, but also in other places in Yugoslavia. The stage was set, one side the Yugoslavian army, on the other side was the Kosovo Liberation Army, helped by NATO, and here in these mountains they met. It's on the Albanian border, and the Albanians also joined in on the side of the KLA. Let's see if we can find the battlefield. Here in the mountains, not far away from where the battle happened, is a military cemetery. All these graves are of members of the Kosovo Liberation Army, and most of these people who lie here were actually killed by NATO friendly fire, not by the Yugoslav army. This was Košare, an outpost of the Yugoslavian army right on the border with Albania. You can see it's been turned into something of a monument, a cover put over it to protect it from the elements, but you can still see the scars of the battle, a big hole in the wall there. You can see smaller bullet holes everywhere. Let's have a look inside. The Yugoslavian army would have been holed up in here, fighting not only the Kosovo Liberation Army, but also resisting NATO bombings and shellings from the Albanian army just across the border. This is the second floor of the outpost. You can see a battle must really have raged here. It's very, very dilapidated, very poor condition. Over there, the end of the hallway, you can see the Albanian flag flying outside. So I said, Kosovo probably the only country with more foreign flags than its own. Mostly Albanian, but you also see American flags and Serbian flags if you come to the Serbian areas of this country. After NATO bombed several targets in Yugoslavia, mostly in Serbia, the Yugoslav army was forced to agree to withdraw from Kosovo. But not without dealing a blow to NATO. They took down one of the USA's F-117 stealth fighter planes. And they joked, "We're sorry, we didn't know that it was invisible." So where does this leave the country of Kosovo? It seems to be a country that doesn't really want to be a country. The majority, the Albanians, they feel Albanian and they fly Albanian flags. And the Serbian minority still consider this place to be part of Serbia. So, the country of Kosovo is a bit of a stalemate between Serbia and the KLA, supported by NATO. I hope you enjoyed this video, which is a bit different. I explained a bit more about the history of a country I visited. Also did a little bit of exploring. If you did like it, leave a like. If you didn't, let me know. I hope to see you next Sunday.